On today's episode of WatchJRGo, an airport tug. Pretty cool, right? What is going on, guys? I am WatchJRGo, and today we are here with my Mercury airport tug that I bought for only $500. It was a package deal with my 7.3, I didn't even know it was a turbo Ford Super Duty, and this came in the bed. And of course, unloading it was beyond sketchy, but we got it done. So now here I am with my airport tug on the ground, and we're ready to try to get it running. And it should run. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. It's an old 4-cylinder, and the engine, I don't think it's stuck. Let's open the hood. I never checked. I'm pretty smart to check though, huh? But I didn't. All right, so here is our engine. It's an old dual accessory belt drive engine. It's a Waukesha, and I think this was built, the whole machine was built in 1980. Kind of seems like it checks out with the drivetrain and everything else that's on this. And the engine is super free. That feels good. It's coming up on compression right there and spinning the fan and the water pump. So that's wonderful news. That makes me extremely happy. But we have a big problem. Now, the hood was down for the years and years and years that it's been parked outside. But this was not down. It was down with the sickness instead. The cylinder for the fuel right here, this tab is open, which means any water that was sitting there was like going in there, obviously, going into the tank and filling the fuel tank with water. I can't see in the fuel tank because this fill cap on here has a filter internal to it. So if I get a big pipe wrench, I might be able to unscrew this off the neck and actually take a look, which is what I'll have to do anyway, to clean out that screen. But we're just gonna try to drain it down. So fuel line comes right down here, runs up to the front of this machine. These are quarter turns. Let's see if I can quarter turn it away. This was up when I was looking at this last time. So it should just pop it off. There we go. The quarter turns are, well, this panel is heavily damaged. So that needs straightened back out. Uh-oh, dropping faster. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get the battery out of the way to make life easy. It's mostly out of the way anyway. Nothing on the battery hold down. And then the fuel line runs up here, and I'm gonna pop it off of the filter and point it at the ground, and hopefully gravity dumps out this tank. See if this works. As you would expect, it sure does. Robo grips, one tool. Only one tool on this whole job, Robo grips.
It's the only one you need.
It's the only one you need. That one's already loose.
I was gonna say that one looked loose already.
Yeah, it's coming right off. The other one's fighting me quite a bit, but we'll give this a couple turns. There's our positive. Come on. Battery hold down.
No.
We won't try that. Old battery. Oh, gross. Look what's coming out of it. Red rust. Let's go ahead and unscrew our air cleaner. Now that we have the nasty fuel line disconnected and supposedly draining down, I'll work on the tank when we get there. We'll skip straight to the fun. And the fun, of course, is trying to crank it. That's power. Okay, here we go. Okay, time for starting fluid. We haven't tried that yet. Come on, girl. Oh, look at all that trash coming out of there. We don't have enough power for that. Upgrades. We now have a real battery hooked up with a jump pack on that. Hopefully that's enough to turn this thing over at the speed we need to start it, which shouldn't be that much. But honestly, we may still have no ignition. I should probably be putting a spark tester in line right now. But first, we'll just try the old way again. Very good crank. I'm gonna guess we don't have spark. Let me grab the spark tester. You know when you have all the tools, but sometimes you just forget? That's what's going on here. I have this cool little tool that I bought just for the monster truck that lets us remotely crank the thing. So now we have our spark plug tester. Spark test and fool. Put this in here. Put this on there. I guess I should honestly be checking voltage there, but if you take a look right here, we'll know if it has spark or not. 0 spark. So why? This is 12 volts in. This is the distributor. So I'll grab a meter and we'll see if we've got 12 volts right here, and that'll give us some answers. Okay, straight to the ground on the battery, straight to coil power. Hold on. Why do we have nothing? Now you got me freaked out thinking I need to check my meter. Something's wrong. I know what happened, I blew the fuse. So I just marked the distributor cap so we would know which direction it goes on. And now we've got the battery unhooked. It's time to pull the distributor cap off and see what we're dealing with here. It's probably a points file situation, and I don't have a points file because I detest working on this stuff. I enjoy the simplicity, but I hate distributors and carburetors. But this is not new news. Everybody knows that I just hate how this stuff's not reliable in any way if you don't drive it non-stop. If you do use it, it never breaks. This is a new cap. Too soon.
Apparently I double tapped.
Too soon, Junior. Okay, we've got our sandpaper in here. Shout out to the detail dudes for having wet sanding sandpaper, because I did not have the sandpaper we needed. We got some oxidation off there.
Yeah.
I might hit it a little bit more, flip this thing over. There's a chance it needs a little bit more than that. Let's pull off though. Cool. If you guys can see what I'm doing there, I'll try to pull these wires out of the way. There's our points, and we're just running the sandpaper back and forth to try to clean off any oxidation causing this to fail. It might need a new condenser too, but I mean, all we can do is hope that it doesn't. So give this one more hit. And I think we're gonna put the cap back on and try again. It helps if you put the rotor on before the cap goes on. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but it helps.
Yeah. Maybe beneficial.
Yeah, it's you don't have to, but it helps. Yep, we got power on the jump pack. Time to crank. Let's see if we have spark. No spark. No spark, but why? So I pulled the condenser out of the distributor. We had to tear it down again, and we're gonna test it. I mean, it doesn't look great, but what we're gonna do now is watch the meter and see what happens with it on the condenser. So hopefully you guys can see that. We've got the over limit mark right now, and there we go. Should have a good connection. Ooh.
No.
This might be dead. Usually it would take a few seconds and we'd start seeing some readings out of this thing. Okay, let's check this ignition coil now because it seems like it might be dead. 4 ohms actually seems fine. 6 ohms, 4 ohms. Yep, I think that's okay. So here's the distributor. If you've never been up close and personal with one before, this is how they work. As the engine cranks, this rotates around. You can see it's got 4 bumps on it. And as those bumps hit the points here, they open up. That breaks the circuit, and as they roll around and around and around, that's what makes the engine fire for each cylinder. Now, of course, we have a brand new condenser, and the points should be very, very clean. You can see there's like no corrosion left on the tab down there where it's nice and copper looking, but the actual points, they look terrible, honestly. And I know we've got power here. Many times I've been in here measuring this. The coil ohms out to 4 ohms, 10K between the coil tower and power in there, 12 volt power. So I know this coil's fine. It should work no matter what. And we are just not getting any fire out of this thing. So I think the correct game plan here is to throw all this away. That's always the correct game plan when you have a points-based ignition system, to get the electronic, the Pertronics kit, and then toss everything that's in that distributor and go to that electronic pickup. And it's like problem solved instantly, and it never fails again. It uses a little magnetic sleeve instead of that little follower that rides on the cam for the points, and it has an electronic trigger that's like a Hall effect sensor, and it just replaces all the mechanical stuff, and they don't break again. They'll run forever for the rest of your life for like $84. So I think I should just go ahead and order that kit and be done with this, but I just wanted to hear it run today. Okay, I completely rebuilt the whole thing for like the 4th time. I took the points out of the distributor and sat there and sanded and sanded and sanded, and yeah, I even used this instead of a points file to knock off the high spots, just going out with your screwdriver, you know, and just slowly get the oxidation off of those points. They build up and cause those things to fail. So I did that, and then I followed that up with that 2000 grit sandpaper until it looked like I had a pretty good surface again. And then, since the points were out, I took my 3M roll-off bristle brush and I cleaned the distributor plate and I cleaned the bottom of the points and all the connections with it until we had nice bright new metal, and then I put it back together. So this is probably the 10th time that cap's been off since we started on this, but I think we made good progress. And now let's try cranking it again. Grab our remote cranker here, and here's our spark plug. There you go. We have fire. So let's put some starting fluid in this thing and see if she cranks up. Oh. All right, we added some more jump pack, and now I think we should have this thing. Oh, come on. I don't get it. It tried to fire one time. I guess we're on the no easy wins plan today, because it is not going to start for us no matter what. Just can't catch a break. All of this dirt here actually just came out of the fuel input into the carburetor. You can see just dirt fogging out of it as I shake the thing, so I'm gonna say that the carb probably needs rebuilt. And the starter, and the starter fluid. Here, check it out, we got the RPM. It's running! Alright, a little more with the fuel here. Oh, come on. I think that's it for today. I know it's impossible to hear over the 7.3 clatter and the fuel pump clatter, just the mess that's going on in here, but I built a little fuel system out of the funnel, so I'm gravity fed, filled the float bowl with a little bit of gas, and choked it manually, and boom, lit it right off. She runs. Okay, the Tug runs, which is amazing on its own. I just have to gravity feed the fuel system like it's old school. So next up, we'll start making the fuel system itself work again. I'm gonna replace all the hoses. They're all old and trash, like they always are on these things. And we'll hook up the fuel pump again, get this tank working, and I think this thing will be back on the road so we can have some fun with it. Oh, I got the reverse beeper working, which I've been pretty excited about. It's a super electronic one. It's got that precise electronic beep to it. Also, the exhaust on this thing, it's right there. Look what came out of it. All of that. It was shooting trash all the way over there to the Fiat. Obviously not the mud, but that all came out of the exhaust. At least we brought it back to life. That thing had been sitting for, they told me like 5-6 years ago was the last time they had ever moved it. So it's been abandoned forever, and we got it running, which I'm very excited about. Rebuilt the entire ignition system. I pulled the entire carb apart, and I just want to show you what came out of the float bowl, which is why we're walking over here. I had to use a hammer to get the two sections apart. That is the sediment that came out of the bowl. All of that. And when I finally cut the fuel line off and turned the fuel pump on, the fuel pump was spraying dirt out. Unbelievable how much trash was in there. So I put a little bit of fuel in there and let it run. So hopefully the pump and the regulator are good to go, and we'll just throw new hoses on them. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop, WatchJRGo.com for cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. And who would have guessed? The 7.3 has 2 batteries and they're not hooked up right. I was over here trying to jump that off of this battery, and this battery, of course, was sitting there at 12 volts, and I was like, something's wrong. Come over here, that battery is not connected, and this one's at 14 volts charging like it's supposed to. I don't know why. Every dual battery vehicle I get, batteries aren't hooked up right.